What is up, YouTube and Twitch live at the same time? Today we're talking about the War Within Alpha, all the contents available we will watch in this channel. We'll be able to go over everything that we want to look over. Actually, we'll go to the Delve. We'll look at Dungeon, Warrior specifically because that's what I play, but we're going to look at every content, every YouTube video available to review. And yeah, have a chance to give us opinions and what's more important to look at, and maybe what we want to, like give opinion. Maybe we'll have access at some point of the beta, most likely, in a far-fetched future, but still. Let's see here. Okay, everything works accordingly. The layout for the new YouTube content is dog shit. Sorry, YouTube, I love it, but honestly, it's terrible. Like the video that you see, like I'll show. I mean, people on YouTube right now knows, but it's terrible. Oops, wrong scene. When you look at the video now, you're just Max says stream. You have the chat over here, and then when you scroll down, it's just endless content. But like I don't know, like let's say if I want to remove that, it's just more video. I don't want to cancel this, but like if you want to see how much people, like, how long he's live, you have to exit the chat and then look, and you see the view count. But like, I don't know, it's so weird. I don't know. In our first, do I know how to type our first impression? So enough talking. We'll go over here, here, oh no, this chat, open first opening chat. Put this here, open the chat here. All right, so let's stop watching at Max. We'll go on the Warcraft channel. I'm gonna have to look at a lot of content, giving my thoughts. I think we're gonna look at what's available for this too. I want to see maybe Maximum as well. Could be interesting to see his thoughts on his, because like he's the highest fucking WoW viewer YouTube channel, whatever. Then we're gonna look at on YouTube. I don't know, maybe Towley has a good. It's a React stream, obviously, because we can't play. Oh, there's a dungeon. Okay, could look at that. 5 hour. Oh my god, there's so much. Exclusive interview. Okay. Exploring Fungi Folly, New Delve. Like, it's insane. You put like so much content at the same time. Jesus Christ. Insane. Okay, so we'll look at the interview. I don't know if there's more interview. We'll have to look, but we'll start like that, and we're gonna take our time to analyze everything. And yeah, so let's go over here. Let's pause the music. Let's go right into the content. Won't be long. All right. Good. Now I want to make sure that we can hear properly. So over there, the desktop audio.
everyone, welcome to Wowcast. Today we're going to talk about The War Within, which alpha starts soon. Special guest with me today, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ian, Game Director on WoW.
I'm Tina, Associate Art Director on WoW.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Before we talk about alpha, what can you summarize about The War Within, Ian?
Well, so The War Within, I mean, of course, it is the 10th expansion to well-known video game World of Warcraft. But even, I think, more special to us, it's the beginning of the World Soul Saga. It's the beginning of probably the most ambitious story we've ever tried to tell in WoW. So as all expansions do, it kicks off with a journey to a new place. But really, this is going to be beginning to set the stage and establish the stakes for a conflict that threatens not just ourselves and our families and those we hold dear, but the very world that we call home, the very world beneath our feet that's been home to all of our adventures. And if we don't win this one, nothing else matters.
So this character has been everywhere for The War Within. Xelatath. She's purple, she's amazing. Can you tell us more about her?
Yeah.
So before going, that's more lore purposes. I mean, I get it. We'll still go over it because it's interesting. I think the story never been really my thing in the lore of World of Warcraft, but the lore of a lot of people. But it's also since there's really having a thematic a world soul saga. There's the lore, the story is important. The thematic, I think they're focusing on that. That's been a long time emptiness of I think people were not happy about the story. There was one, but it was really lacking. They have Chris Metzen that I'm pretty sure he's the one that's setting up the World Soul. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. World Soul Saga. But we're excited to see it. And let's go back into it.
Xelatath is, one of our key villains of the World Soul Saga. The expansion is, part of it is...
Oh, I didn't even know she was a villain. I put her in my thumbnail on YouTube. Well, that's good.
This journey, delving deeper, find Xelatath and her allies, and the inspiration for her design from an art side was...
Yo, that's sick, though. The back piece, that's really a cool looking fucking Camel Premium. Sorry about that. I'll buy my premium at some point. Thank you.
It's really based on the priest artifact weapon that she had been trapped in for so long. So if you look at her armor, all the motifs of her belt, her shoulders, really take inspiration from that design. Even the runes on her cheeks, those are a homage to N'Zoth, who freed her from the dagger.
Knifeu.
So if later on in War Within you find yourself, wiping to a raid somewhere, just blame the Shadow Priests for not just putting the knife down, walk away from the talking dagger, and we wouldn't be here.
Oh my God.
Yet...
are there any familiar faces that we can recognize?
Yeah, some of the key heroes of our story are Illyria and Anduin. So these two...
Super happy to see Anduin back. That's going to be fun.
They're running a bit, right, from some of the wounds of their past, but in the end, they're going to find hope and redemption. So, Illyria, we've seen her new design that really reflects the duality of her character. And Anduin, we saw him in our cinematic, and he just looks, a little more haggard. He's been through a lot lately.
He grew his beard.
He's
working on it.
Yeah, I mean, the name The War Within is one that has a couple of layers to it, right? Obviously, we're literally delving beneath the surface of Azeroth and going to be battling within our world. But this is also a story that involves a lot of inner turmoil and inner conflict. And Anduin is probably the most torn of any of our cast of heroes, given what he went through in the Shadowlands.
I'm not sure exactly how it ends his story in Shadowlands. Maybe I think we're going deeper into it because he's not in the Dragonflight. We kind of went away of everything. I'm not a big lore guy again. I'm not pretending to just talk and talk, but I kind of follow Anduin's story based on the Torghast and Shadowlands. Maybe I wasn't too involved with Dragonflight. I think he's just not there, but I don't know if it actually ends. We beat him in the last raid, but then after I don't know.
And his journey into the darkness as he seeks to rediscover his own light is a big part of the narrative arc.
And with The War Within, there's new zones. Can we talk about what our new zones are going to be?
The continent as a whole that begins on the surface and extends beneath the earth, right, we're calling Khazalgar. This is an ancient home to
Khazalgar.
actually just off the west coast of Pandaria, about between Pandaria and Kalimdor. Just a couple hundred nautical miles away from a certain sword that's sticking out of the southern end of Kalimdor. But yes, home to 4 zones with amazing, varied settings.
Yo, I can't wait. I got so excited. I was watching streams of Max like going live because of the alpha, and like my WoW like itch for retail is back. Like I'm gonna play season 4 and prepping my character, play Pandamonia, the Panda fucking Mist of Pandaria patch in 10.2.7, which should have a video going out for that. But yeah, super excited. I'm so hyped.
That's our first zone, the Isle of Dorn. This is basically, you'll find an isolated group of Earthen there. And so
Just want to make sure, see if we can hear properly the sound. Yeah, okay. Because I thought like maybe the whole stream and I hear the fucking, I'm hearing it, but you don't, like people watching don't hear it. That would be really bad.
They have their awesome city, Dornogal, which we're very excited for players to check out. That'll be the hub in the end. The second zone is the Ringing Deeps. So, the evocative of like mine picks, industry. And so this is the heart of earthen industry.
Looks like
Ironforge. It's not all
Ironforge.
just, lava and fire. It's mixed with these beautiful caverns, cenotes with light and water coming in, creating these, lush spaces for the players to enjoy.
Ouais, pourquoi? Streaming? Yeah, you can speak to me. Ah, yeah. Well, that's good. Good opportunity if ever. Il t'a dit, like, you know who? Okay, yeah. À ton père, right? La même date? Ok, je pensais ça, je me demandais si c'était la fête de ton père. C'est cool. Ouais. Ben, t'es sa fille adulte. J'imagine. Okay. See you later.
And then we go to Howlafall. Howlafall is where we really wanted to break expectations. Right, like this one, this is Arathi, airships.
Right, underground airships, right? The first thing you'd naturally think of when you're going under the
Underground airship. That's kind of interesting concept. But the world is so big with inside. Is that the hollow theory? I was watching King Kong Island, like the hollow theory, like the Earth has something inside of it, and it's not like it's hollow. I guess that's what it means.
Surface. How are they going to get around? Well, airships, of course.
Of course.
And then our final zone is Ashkahet. So this is the heart of the Nerubian Empire.
Those are just screenshot, right?
This is where we'll finally be able to see the Nerubians and all of their strength.
Well, I guess not.
And glory, like with the height of their civilization.
I think we'll get into the details of Alpha later, but everyone's journey is going to start in the Isle of Dorn. But I really can't wait until we get to Hallowfall in our testing. I think Tina mentioned that this crystal, it is such a striking visual element that dominates.
That is probably the zone that looks the most beautiful and the most striking, and like can't wait to dragonflight my way everywhere.
The zone. Imagine in this place deep within the earth, a radiant crystal of light, and the way, as it illuminates the surroundings, that actually plays with the environment and some of the spawns and how the world around it reacts to it. I think when we set out to create this underground space, we knew that one of the risks was that it could feel oppressive, that people didn't want to feel the sense of claustrophobia, of you're always in caves. Hallowfall really from the outset was built to be a place where, honestly, unless you fly all the way up to check out the ceiling above you, it doesn't feel underground. It feels like you could be outdoors in some vast, welcoming area.
The idea does sound claustrophobic in a way that like we're really underneath something. Like you can go into the sky, you don't see the sky. I don't think so. At least, I mean, we don't see here. We see that it's a wall, but I mean, the rock and everything. But I would need to look at other zone. But technically, it's just rocks. And this flying duck, I want that. I don't know how you get that, but that looks insane. That's not a duck, but it kind of looked like a duck.
It's incredibly.
I mean, it is a duck, right?
When we arrive to the Isle of Dorn, what's the first thing we'll see?
Well, so you're going to see something a bit different in alpha from when the expansion goes live. There is an expansion intro experience that is not currently being tested. It's something that has some, cool narrative elements that we want players to all experience together later in the year when War Within launches. But players will spawn in the alpha on the Isle of Dorn, surrounded by some debris that will look pretty familiar and pretty distinctive, and really is the scars of an initial battle that seems like it didn't end so well. And the beginning of our journey, as with many expansions, is a bit of a mystery, a bit of an investigation of arriving in a strange land, having this threat.
I want to know how we're getting into it. Like, how are we going over there? That's probably the pre patch and the first like intro quest. That would be. I'm really excited. I'm not a big lore guy, like I said, but I don't know, for some reason I'm super excited about it.
These whispers that heroes around Azeroth have been hearing in recent months, but trying to understand the nature of the threat we face, how we're going to stop it, and our journey begins on the doorstep of these ancient earthen people who are going to begin, helping us figure out where to go next.
They're going to become our next allied race too, right?
Once we earn their trust, that's for sure.
Is there any other NPCs that we're going to be familiar with?
Yeah, there are going to be some characters that we haven't seen in World of Warcraft in a while, but will be, part of this story. That's because of their, heritage and, Magni.
Magni, I think we should have I need team alerts for the stream.
The Radiant Song.
Definitely.
He brings some of his family members along. Moira, who is leader of the Dark Iron Dwarves and heir to Ironforge. She'll be here with her son, Dagran, who is now a young adult.
He looks goofy,
the last time we saw him in game,
but like cool
he was
goofy,
this pretty generic-looking adult.
Glasses are sick.
Dagran, the last time we saw him in game, he was this pretty generic-looking dwarven baby. But now, the Dark Iron heritage is starting to show more in his appearance, along with his personality. So he has a bunch of these scrolls and books, like really showing that he has a very scholarly nature.
I think one of the fun aspects of just world building and narrative in WoW is we have this vast array of characters and champions and heroes and backup characters. And whenever we figure out where we're going, what the next natural location is, what the story elements are, the first question we ask is, who needs to be here? Who does it make sense to have answer this call, want to step forward? Just as when we were dealing with the Green Dragonflight or the Emerald Dream or the like, okay, this is time for Malfurion and Tyrande to step forward. Now that we're going to this ancestral homeland of the Earthen with this ancient connection to the dwarven legacy of Azeroth, this is a time for our dwarves to take center stage.
All right, so let's talk about the 8 new dungeons in the War Within. What are your guys' favorites or the notable ones you want to talk about?
Well, so one that's fun to talk about is actually probably the first dungeon the players are going to see in their journeys, and it's going to be tested early on in the alpha. This is the Rookery dungeon in the Isle of Dorn. The Rookery...
But it's interesting how you can see the sky even though we're underneath something.
Is the place where the Storm Griffins...
By the way, I'm really excited to know what's going to be the 8 dungeon that are going to be in the first season of Mythic Plus. I don't know if they're going to do the 8 dungeon in M Plus rotation or they're going to add like 4 dungeon in the rotation. I don't know, but
were
excited about that.
Trained by the ancient Earthen over the centuries.
I want to thank them. I want to be good at tanking, which is something I didn't do much about previous expansion.
Go hand in hand, and the Earthen have a legacy of Storm Riders.
That way I can carry you guys.
We got to see a little sneak peek of if you got the War Within Heroic Edition. You might have been flying around on that guy. There's plenty more where that came from in the Isle of Dorn. And so this dungeon, of course, is not all peaceful. It's been overrun by a group of corrupted Earthen known as the Skardan. And we're going to be just beginning to understand where they came from and what their nature is as we fight.
Looks sick.
But one cool thing about this dungeon is that it's actually part of the main campaign as you play
Oh.
through Isle of Dorn. Now, I know some people are instantly saying, wait a minute, I don't like doing dungeons, I just like solo questing, that's terrible. Well, unfortunately, in 10.2.5,
Who says that? Who doesn't do dungeon at least once? Come on.
towards the end of Dragonflight, we introduced this feature called Follower Dungeons. And we're really happy to bring that to the level up dungeons in War Within.
Interesting. I mean, I'll let him talk, but it is something that basically, like, what he's saying is like people that doesn't like dungeon or they're just bad. I mean, they're going to be able to have followers to help them, and you can just DPS, and I guess you'll have the tank and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, dungeons are probably what I like the most with raid. Like, I can't wait.
Right from the outset, so that you can go in solo with NPC allies as you play through the dungeon if that's what you prefer. Or, of course, you can just queue up with with friends or random group mates through the group finder. But what this lets us do is, where appropriate, we can really have the story flow directly through dungeons in a way that we couldn't in the past, and in ways that at times was frankly awkward, because sometimes major villains die in dungeons. Dungeons are places of great importance in a zone, but we couldn't really tie them directly into the questing because we didn't want to create an obstacle for players who really just prefer to keep playing solo.
Tina, is there anything that you like?
One of my favorites is in Hallowfall. So it's called the Priory of the Sacred Flame, and it's this Earthor monastery. So one of the coolest parts is the final boss room. There's this giant window that frames the crystal that is embedded in the ceiling of Hallowfall.
Like, the thematic of the fucking expansion looks insanely cool. I can't wait.
And so I love, you know, the beauty of the room, as well as just how it ties in with the narrative of the story as a whole. And another really cool one, it's the City of Threads. So this one is underneath the Nerubian city proper. And so it's really interesting to see the ancient civilization that the newer civilization was built on top of, and just to think about the layers of Nerubian history that, you know, is in this land.
Is it that the ancient civilization back in like Lich King?
Even far before
Oh,
that,
it's even farther before that?
Yeah, the Nerubians, I think, you know, we might think of them as monstrous or arachnid. They're one of the great powers, one of the great advanced civilizations.
Did they do? Yeah, I need to fix like pressing on my keyboard. It used to not be like that, but now it picks a lot more sound. I need to fix that because like I press my space bar
Of Azeroth.
and you can hear it. But if I don't talk and I press something, you shouldn't have to read. Anyways, I'll fix that for sure.
Right up there with
Wow.
the elves and trolls and the others that helped shape the course of the world's history. We've only really seen hints of them going back to Wrath. If you ran the Azjol, Nerub, or Ankahet dungeons, you could see their buildings off in the background. But they were.
Who's building? Are they like the one building their own like fortress? That's what I'm thinking.
A civilization that at its height rivaled the High Elves and the Nightborn on the surface.
That's insane.
They were able to go toe-to-toe with the Lich King's armies and win until the Old Gods and their forces on another flank eventually led to the Nerubians being overwhelmed. But really being able to explore what they're all about is one of the things we're most excited about when it comes to War Within.
One of the things we're excited to bring is an arachnophobia filter, if you will, for all of you out there who could never.
Okay, but if you don't like crabs, what's the thing?
Go to that spider section in Nax. You'll be able to turn on arachnophobia filter, and all spider beasts will turn into crabs. So very pumped about that.
It actually looks it works way better than you might think just hearing that sentence. I can't wait for players to be able to jump in, turn it on, and hopefully feel more comfortable in parts of our world. This is something that when we announced the Nerubian-centric themes of War Within at BlizzCon, we heard trepidation from portions of our community who love WoW, but were worried they weren't going to be able to experience it. Honestly, prior to that, it's something we heard concerns about from within our own team, where there are, people who genuinely felt uncomfortable with these elements of the game that we were building together. And so we set out to try to find a solution that would still,
I mean, spiders were like around for the past like years, and wow, like I don't know what people were doing. Like they did not like play the game. I don't know.
Preserve the fidelity of the game, but really make it more approachable, more accessible to everyone.
So speaking of the Nerubians, once we reach level 80, we're going to go to the new raid, Nerubo Palace. Is there anything you want to speak about that?
Yeah, this raid is epic in so many ways. One of the coolest parts is there's this beautiful showpiece that is just in front of the Queen's palace. It represents the Nerubian race, and it just shows how highly Queen Ansrek thinks of her people and herself. This raid will get, one of the sections of the raid, you'll get to check out her innermost sanctum. This is where, you know...
Looks a bit Castle Natria feel. Like, I mean, if it's that as good as Castle Natria,
only VIPs for the Nerubians get to go, and you really get to explore the dark elegance of her palace.
And again, as we were just saying, like the Nerubians, we need to remember they're an advanced race, very, you know, just this epic civilization. I think there's some parallels probably to going back to the Nightborn in Suramar and what going into that city and that palace felt like. We really want to show the sophistication here. This is not a monstrous supervillain lair. This is, you know, a superpower of Azeroth that we find ourselves, you know, facing off against. But yeah, the Queen Ansarek encounter that Tina mentioned, she's going to be the end boss of sort of the initial season, the initial raid tier. The encounter team is hard at work on this one. I can't wait to see it tested later on in beta. This is, you know, the whole room is really purpose-built to showcase some vertical elements, and, you know, it's just an incredible set piece. But we want to, as always, integrate the environment wherever possible into our encounters. So you're facing off against both, you know, a very powerful magical user, but also someone who is a
Peux-tu checker sur internet, genre mes trucs, voir si ça marche bien? Merci.
Sure. And how do we kind of deliver parts of the fantasy of, you know, scaling a web while locked in combat against the Queen? Those are the things that we're currently exploring. Can't wait to see that up for testing.
Does that mean we're going to get tier sets again?
Certainly. I think last time we tried taking them away, I recall torches and pitchforks in the street. New tier means new tier sets.
Nice.
And these days, you know...
Is that warrior? No, that's not warrior.
Unlike years and years...
Which one is the warrior? That's druid? That's probably warrior, right? Or DK? That's DK?
When you
the flame one is certainly warrior, right? It looks warrior-esque.
When you had to raid in order to get the tier set. Now you can get them from a wide array of activities, whether you're a raider, Mythic Plus player, or an Outdoor World player, which includes now delves.
Ah, delves. Let's start talking about delves.
Yeah, I mean, delves are one of the major new features in War Within, and I think we're really excited to offer a more structured progression.
If delves work, it's going to be an evergreen content, and they're going to keep it and remodel it for the next expansion and whatnot. Like, adding and keeping what's good just brings more and more content available. Like, if you're removing delve, like M+ was supposed not to be something that stays after Legion, but like it just was so good that they kept it, and that's good. Like, you need those kind of content. Like, if you remove M+, thinking about it, there's really less content available nowadays.
Oriented extension of the Outdoor World gameplay that we know is the favorite of so many of our players. And, you know, delves are these seamless experiences integrated into all of our zones, where you can have these localized, varied adventures alongside in the first season, Bran Bronzebeard, either on your own or with friends. And finally, you know, get a shot at some endgame epic rewards just through.
Can you do it solo, or you can do it in group? I mean, I understand you can do it in group because I saw someone playing it, but I'm curious if you could just solo it. There's a speedrun potential for sure.
Through an extension of the Outdoor World ecosystem.
Yeah, we'll be able to get it from the Great Vault, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, super exciting. So one of our goals...
C'est ton headset? Ah, ok. Je pas cool que t'écoutes, mais tu regardes sur Twitch du tout. Puis ça va? Like and subscribe, anyone that's watching.
With building delves was we really wanted the player to just feel like...
Genre, à cause comme t'allais courir, j'ai vraiment... Je sais pas qu'est-ce que j'ai, mais j'ai le goût du chocolat. Ah, t'as des amandes, t'es sûrement toutes finies? T'as toutes fini les amandes? Pas beaucoup. Non, je n'en ai pas mangé une. Tu cassé?
They adventured, came across a place, and could just, you know, go in and see what's inside. When you walk up to the delve, there's this, you know, dark, misty door, and you click on it, and then it just disappears, and you just walk into your own personal delve instance. So very excited about that.
Smooth. I don't know if there's a loading screen per se, but interesting. I think delves are like set in stone. I thought maybe it was like an instance, like you queue up in the, but you have to go to the location. You probably can queue up. I don't know, but interesting. It's part of the story in the zones, actually.
I mean, players are going to have that first experience on the Isle of Dorn early in the alpha. The first delve they're likely to encounter is Earthcrawl Mines. You're going to encounter...
There's no chance I have access to alpha. Maybe beta, but I don't know if I would have like the first wave of beta access. First, I need to buy like the what do you call it, the fucking epic edition. Like I don't have it yet. It's like $114. I don't want to pay that for now, but I'll have to if I want to have access to the beta for sure. Like
your good friend Bran Bronzebeard outside an ancient earthen mine that has been overrun with Nerubians who are burrowing up from the depths. Bran will ask you if you want him to outfit himself as a healer or as a damage dealer to help support you. And you'll venture in and have your very first delve experience. You'll be able to choose whether you want to do it on tier 1 or tier 2 difficulty. Tier 1 is kind of the default. This is for everyone experience. Tier 2 is for those who want to opt into a bit more of a challenge because that's what they enjoy. There will be higher tiers that can be unlocked at max level as part of the end game and seasonal progression. And we really just can't wait to get player feedback from the outset, really all through alpha, on this new system, on how it is or isn't working for you, and whether we can really meet everyone's expectations, from people who just want a casual romp as an extension of their outdoor world experience to those...
It's gonna be fun because I want to play like delves and do tier 11 and do some fucking video about it. That's gonna be fun. Like I can't wait for that. Can't wait for Mythic Plus. Can't wait for Raid. Can't wait for I don't know, more like doing routing by thinking. Like that's gonna be a good progression, good series I can think about and yeah.
Who want a solo progression challenge that they can really strive to overcome. Feedback is going to really help shape how this evolves, but we're so excited about delves as a central part of War Within.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're going to be able to just jump in and go solo with Bran, or you can have friends, but also just get rewards in that way, especially the tier sets with the catalyst.
Exactly.
And then that really...
I don't know if they're going to do it that way, but delves should be mandatory to do the 3rd tier, to go to the 4th tier and so on, to have like that kind of progression unlock. A little bit like Torghast, but not mandatory in the fact that you had to have like Soul of Ashes or whatever. Back in the day, that's more of optional content. Like it's good for the vault, but other than that, I mean, I know I heard some tiers are just like literally bragging rights and not like attached to actually physical awards. Well, not physical, but like rewards that are gonna be power leveling, fucking shoulders that gonna give you more gear. It's really just rewards in terms of titles or just being able to clear that and say that you are able to clear it.
Cool mechanical mounts.
Yeah, so this is going to kind of be an introduction to the, sort of the delves end game. As you hit max level, as you hit 80 and start to get a sense of the delves ecosystem, right at the start of that, we're going to give you this epic customizable mount, kind of the successor to the customizable drakes you had in the Red Isles.
Interesting.
Where you'll be able to, through doing delves, earn a variety of different customizations and attachments that you can mix and match to really create your own personalized flying mount.
So does this mechanical mount have dynamic flying?
This is one of the big questions we had moving on from Dragonflight. We had the question of like, well, okay, dragon riding is amazing. We can't get rid of this. But how is this going to work alongside of the hundreds of mounts that we already have in players' collections? And how, from a design perspective, how do we navigate a world where some mounts can fly in this awesome way and others can only do the old quote-unquote static flight? Fortunately, I think our art team was able to work out an amazing solution for us.
Yeah, we were very excited to be able to make pretty much all mounts be able to dynamically fly. So even Nimron's head, Ian, we figured it out. We made it work. So
I'm really excited to see Nimron's head going like super fast. Another feature coming in the War Within that I'm really excited about, as well as
it's good. There's a lot of people working in the animation department that really made because like it needs to look good. Just like they could have just increased. Like you could Dragonflight with other mounts and it could look just goofy as hell, right? Because like it just needs to be fast, but it needs to look good as well. So I think they did that.
a lot of other people is warbands.
Yeah, warbands, I mean, again, I think as I summarized it at BlizzCon, it's just account-wide everything, almost everything. Players increasingly play multiple characters, and this is something we've heard loud and clear, that, the game needs to be more alt-friendly, that players want to be able to choose where they spend their time across their different characters instead of feeling like they have to reprogress everything individually. And so, yeah, the Warband is it is your account in its entirety. It is your collection of champions, whether they're Horde or Alliance, regardless of what realm they're on. They're all part of the same Warband.
Yo, he only has 9,000 gold. The guy is poor.
To various shared progression systems.
And then you get to see all of your favorites on, one screen together. So in our new UI, we'll have warbands, and you'll be able to move 4 up into that space and see them all hanging out around a campfire.
They need to allow us to have different background. That's gonna be sick.
Is that on the character select screen?
Yeah, the character select screen.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be totally different than what we're used to logging in.
Exactly. Yes, you'll know, like, this is a completely different world. It's a completely different welcome into World of Warcraft. What we showed off at BlizzCon was just actually a UI mock-up, but we're excited to see people react to the real thing. And really, as with every...
Trop de photos. Tu vas mettre les plus intéressants. Ouais, c'est vraiment cool. Mais ceux que t'as envie, I guess, hein? Ouais, tant mieux. Pas ceux de l'Espagne, pas les enfants même, ou ceux qui sont dans le cahier. Ouais.
Everything else, warbands are a foundation. This is a system that we want to build the next generations of World of Warcraft on. In 2004, WoW launched with everything character-based. In 2024, WoW is going to shift to everything being account-based. And we can't wait to hear feedback about what other areas we can expand upon here, and that's going to shape not just War Within, but later updates and expansions. And we're just, just excited about this platform that better reflects the way our players are looking to play World of Warcraft today.
You can't forget about PvP. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So we have a new battleground called the Deep Hall. This one is earthen themed. It's a bit of a mashup between Silver Shard Mines and Arathi Basin. So, hold some points, push some cards.
Battlegrounds are kind of dead, right? Like, I don't remember the last time I did a battleground in WoW, because it takes so long to just get into it.
We're really excited to see how players navigate around this one.
Yeah, and in terms of how players are interacting with it, there is an overhaul to our rated battleground system that is coming with War Within. People who've been paying attention over the course of Dragonflight have checked out our Battleground Blitz, our kind of brawl that was testing out a 8v8 solo queue rated battleground format. We're happy to move to that as a default for how rated battlegrounds are going to work going forward. I think we're really excited.
So they're bringing back, they're changing their R-rated, not R-rated, but rated battleground. I never did rated battleground in the past. Might be interesting to, dive into solo rated battleground. That could be content.
To make that battleground experience that personally I've always felt is the best part of WoW PvP, that larger scale, more cooperative, objective-based, collaborative, competitive setting, as opposed to the deathmatch style in Arena, to make that more accessible to everyone who, loves Battlegrounds.
Because rated Battlegrounds are definitely not accessible. Like, I mean, I don't know if... I did not see a lot of... I know there's a community, but I did not see really people playing that really much. And I heard it's super toxic, but I guess if it's solo, mic in with everyone, because like those kind of Discord, they don't stream because I think they're pretty toxic in like a non-streamable way.
Loves PvP. We know, it's a bit overdue, honestly, us adding a new Battleground map into the rotation. And we're excited to do more of this going forward. We're excited to have a new framework that can make Battlegrounds more central to the end game rewarding part of PvP. And yeah, this is just the beginning of a new chapter.
Another feature in the War Within is hero talents. We've been having a lot of articles talking about them. What are some of the other things that we can expect with the hero talents coming forward?
Well,
I need to look at the hero talents of Warrior. I haven't actually looked and review it. If it's out, I might look at it and have a specific video opinion about it. But I'm not a big expert on it. Like, it's more interesting when you have like opinions from people that are like in knowing the class, I do mostly DPS, so it might be something harder. I just look into it, but having an opinion on something that you're not an expert on sometimes could be harder than understanding. So we'll see. Maybe the warrior DPS one should be more interesting. I might just focus on that. We'll see.
I'd say there's going to be no more blogs and articles releasing hero talents because they'll be there for you to jump in and play. And I think that's the most exciting thing. We're so grateful to the community for all of the feedback and discussion in recent months, going back to the first blog in December. This really helped us shape this central feature of how people's class gameplay is going to evolve. You're going to see hero talents that you haven't yet seen for the trees that we haven't discussed previously. And for many of the ones that we have released, you'll log in and see changes that are directly shaped by your feedback, by what we heard loud and clear in some cases about what was and wasn't exciting. We've committed to have as many of these playable right from the outset as possible. We will have 100% of the hero talent trees available and playable not long into alpha. And then the rest of the journey is going to be about iteration, tuning, and really just dialing it all in to make the polished experience that everyone is excited about.
So what are we doing with professions in the War Within?
I think when we really overhauled professions in Dragonflight, we saw that as a kind of a permanent shift in how professions were going to work going forward. So you can expect, new recipes, different enchants, but the same fundamental sort of progression and structure to professions that you saw in Dragonflight. One big piece of feedback that we heard throughout Dragonflight, though, was a bit of frustration with the work order system from crafters who were just looking to complete quests, looking to skill up.
Yeah.
But found themselves competing and often racing to grab work orders with their fellow crafters. So what we're excited to offer is a baseline availability of basically NPC crafting orders. So it could be Earthen in Isle of Dorn who need a hammer made or need a helmet made, and they're constantly putting their work orders up onto the market, so there's always something for you to grab. The player ones will still be more lucrative, but there should always be that baseline availability if you just want to skill up, you just want to practice your trade skill. And there's also some cool potential for narrative tie-ins, the ability to have quests that now can
Interesting.
towards that system because we can count on.
So you can have quests for profession, doing stuff, probably like weeklies, dailies. I don't know.
Being there.
So with Dragonflight and the profession overhaul, there was also a UI overhaul. Is there anything we're going to see with the War Within?
Yeah, so the UI overhaul, it's basically a continued improvements that we want to make over time. One of the things that I'm very excited about is the quest bang overhaul. So we're going to have a bunch of new icons that will make what type of quest it is much more clear. One of the new ones that you'll see is one that's we consider an important one. These aren't campaign, but they're pretty important to your character. For instance, some...
they did that in the 10.2.7, the one with the question mark in purple. That I felt like was a little bit difficult to understand, but just because I didn't know what it was because I never seen it. So
must-do ones for your profession or ones where you're gonna unlock the revival catalyst.
Yeah, I think as we've leaned more and more into outdoor world gameplay and varied gameplay there, different types of public events over the course of Dragonflight, honestly, we reached a point about halfway through Dragonflight where we just took a look at our map and kind of recoiled in horror at the number of different icons that were there. And it was just a kind of icon soup situation that made us say, it's kind of at this point, we've advanced far past the world of, you just have some daily quests or world quests here.
Yeah, there's too much.
Clearer visual language. And
so, it's kind of bloating skills. Like a lot of people talking about that. There's a lot of them. Might be time to reduce them. It doesn't feel like it's what they worked on this time. But if they felt that way in terms of looking at quest logo, they probably are feeling that way in the same skills load.
So really excited to just evolve that central interface that players use to log in and see what there is to do in WoW on a given day.
So that covers the War Within, and the alpha is starting extremely soon.
Pretty much working on getting it stood up as we speak, as we sit here right now. And yeah, so the way this is going to work is pretty similar to the Dragonflight alpha for those who followed that, where really each week, each new build that we release, we're focusing on a different piece of War Within to concentrate player feedback and our attention to just really get all that feedback in and maximize the quality. So we're going to start off zone by zone, level band by level band. This first week is going to be the Isle of Dorn, level 70 to 73 or so, the dungeon and delves there, as well as universal systems like hero talents. with successive alpha builds, we'll move on to other zones, other portions of War Within, inviting more waves of people. If you haven't gone to the website to opt in yet, that's a great reminder to do so. We, really pick from. There's no secret to it. We're just randomly pulling lots of folks in and hope to get
randomly pulling, guys. We might have a chance.
By the end of this, countless people into our testing.
A video of the new expansion, like they're launching like I explained to you, the alpha. So it's like early look at the expansion, early test of stuff. So it's interesting because like you have a lot of content, a lot of things that you could watch, explain, understood, feedback. And then when they're done with the alpha, they're gonna release. They're gonna make available what we call the beta. I don't know if in English it's beta, but I'm pretty sure it's beta. Anyways, and then that's what I would have access to at some point, hopefully much earlier than not. What do you mean? In 2 weeks? No, I think it's gonna be like in a couple weeks. I don't know, but I'm not in the first few waves because the alpha are more like people that are friends of, people that works in Blizzard or like big streamer, and then they enlarge the people. But I have an old account, but I don't think I have the playtime of the or I don't even I didn't bought the expansion yet, so maybe they want me to buy it, so they're gonna give me access. But I'm just waiting to buy it. So technically, if they want to make me buy it, they should give me the access of it so I can make a good like a good. I'm gonna certainly buy it. It's just like there's 3 ways you can buy the game. You have the regular one, much cheaper version, and then the other 2 has a 3-day early access. So 100%, I'm gonna need to buy one of those 2. But the last tier, the most expensive one, have automatically a beta access to it. So I'm gonna certainly have access to it. It's just like it doesn't tell you when. So like I kind of want to have like the most expensive one because it gives 30 days of game time. I don't have to pay a subscription for 1 month. But like it's super expensive. It's like 114, I think. Like how much is it? I didn't buy it because it's expensive. So how much is the tier before taxes? It's $114.99. It's expensive. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it, but like it's like most of the stuff I don't care unless it's like I care about the 30-day game time, so that's good. 3 days early access, of course, and beta access of the War Within. So it's like what's more valuable to me, but we'll see. Oh, I have a level character boost, so that's good. Oh, that could boost one of my characters too. That's interesting. That's actually valuable. But we'll see. I'll probably buy it actually tomorrow because I'll have money coming in. All right, let's finish the video.
Once we've gotten through all of those rounds of focus testing, we'll move into our beta phase, which really is an end-to-end holistic test of War Within from 70 all the way to 80 and the end game and beyond. And throughout, feedback, bug reports, suggestions, all of this is instrumental to helping turn what we have now into the finished product that we want to be the best it possibly can be for all of our players later this year.
Thank you so much for joining me for the War Within.
And thank you for joining us for this. Really, this is one of the most exciting times ever for the development team, when we get to pull back the curtain and welcome you all into this world that we've been building in the last few years. So can't wait to see you in the alpha, and can't wait to hear all of your feedback.
Really looking forward to everyone checking out what we built. Thank you so much.
See you guys in the alpha.
See ya. All right. Cool video. And now we have this. I don't know if this one, the War Within Alpha Preview Dynamic Flying Feature Overview. I'm not sure if that's interesting, but we'll watch it. It's 4 minutes.
Era of flight. Formerly known as dragon riding, dynamic flight brings the newest, fastest, most...
So it's not called dragon riding anymore because we're not dragon riding because it's like all mounts. So it's like dynamic flying. Interesting.
active way to travel.
It's the same thing.
Zones and new. From the leveling campaign through endgame on hundreds of your favorite flying mounts. Let's explore everything you need to know about dynamic flight in the War Within. World of Warcraft Dragonflight introduced adventurers to a completely new way of traversing Azeroth.
Sounds like AI generated text.
Called dragon riding. This faster, more immersive form of flight reinvented how heroes explored the Dragon Isles. Dragon riding made flying an active experience, allowing players to ascend, surge, break, and whirl through the landscape at breakneck speeds on customizable mounts. Players took to the skies in the open world, dungeons, and the final raid, as well as pushed their limits in race courses throughout the world.
I don't know if they're gonna have still race courses.
In the War Within, dynamic flight is being improved and expanded upon, keeping core elements like vigor-based abilities in place, while granting players earlier access, more mounts to choose from, more courses to race on, and the ability to toggle between dynamic and traditional.
That answers me a question.
As early as level 15, or even earlier if you're a Drakthir, characters will be able to learn dynamic flying,
Cool.
allowing new champions to navigate older zones and experience leveling like never before. Dynamic flight skills will be earned as a part of leveling up, allowing players to fill out the skill tree as they progress. For players coming into the War Within at level 70, dynamic flight will be available early in the Isle of Dorn, and upon unlocking, flying mounts will be equipped with all their talents. This means that finding glyphs will not be tied to dynamic flight progression. But for mavericks who enjoy the thrill of the hunt, glyphs in the Dragon Isles will remain in place, purely for achievement.
Okay. Well,
If, however, you prefer the more passive style of flying introduced in Burning Crusade, you can toggle between dynamic flight and traditional flight modes.
who would do that?
In previously existing zones, the ability to switch will be available immediately at launch. And in Khazalgar, switching becomes available after leveling through and exploring the new lands thoroughly.
Like achievement type.
At the War Within's launch, over 440 mounts will be converted to enable dynamic flight. With more than 200 unique models and over 50 fundamentally different shapes and sizes, conversion has been a significant undertaking that allows you to once again show off the shining stars of your collection. Favorites like Ashes of Alar, Invincible, Gmod, the Sandstone Drake, and the Hive Mind will all be capable of dynamic flight.
Hive mind,
With
nice.
all your old favorites available, there will be no shortage of mounts to tout. But two special mounts are worth seeking out as well. The Delver's Dirigible, earnable through the all-new
I'll probably just like use that mount all the time.
Delves feature is a cosmetically mega customizable mount with color, nose, wings, thrusters, top, and even decal options that continue to expand as you progress. The Algarian Storm Rider is one of a kind, featuring a unique vigor bar in its user interface. It also comes with a special ability called Lightning Rush, which can give you a boost of speed without spending vigor.
He's saying that just because it's tied to the War Within Alpha pre-purchase sales.
By expending static charges that accumulate when flying near walls. Lightning Rush is expanding to other mounts starting in the War Within, allowing everyone to both zip and zap around. Racing will also continue to push pilots to the peak of their capabilities. New courses will be available in each new zone, offering a brand new circuit of achievements and an exciting way to explore various landmarks and landscapes throughout Khazalgar. Are you ready for a whole new era of dynamic flight? Mount up and actively soar through Khazalgar and beyond.
All right, interesting. Now, do I want to hear his take right now? I don't know if we want to watch the interview or go over Wowed article. There might be video about what we want to look at. I want to see maybe a Delves playthrough. Let's see, War Within. War Within. 6 new hero talent. I want to see maybe if there's a warrior, maybe one. amount of content. No, there's no warrior. I don't think they released it, right? No. Taoli, Mythic Pluck, Aphysit, Augmentation, and Raid Buff. Okay. So I think we'll watch the Taoli video then. Okay, then might not just watch that for now. It's tier. Patch 10.2. No. Outdoor. Jack tier class. Art and ally customization. Dungeon encounter and ability. War within dungeon. Ronald. Trinket. Legendary companion trinket. Want to watch that. All season 1 DK. New achievement for completing Mythic Dungeon with every roll. The War Within Warband. Mount Models. That looks sick. All season 1 Evoker. So I think the one I said that's the DK. I think that was a Warrior one. Data Mind Earth Alliance Race. That's good. All season 1 Warrior. That's the one I wanted to see. So we'll do that. Okay. Rogue. First look at the Nerubian Palace, the season 1 raid within the War Within. Interview preview. Let's see that. Okay. Talent calculator, but I just want to see if there's a warrior. First look at Delves in War Within. So we'll do that. We'll put that in here. You look at the Blizzard Gearstone. Act no Famil Dogolan. UPC NPC models. Wildcast developer chat go into so we watched it. War Within and plus season 1 dungeon rotation, Shadowland dungeon, and Sage of Borealis. Why did my cream just shut down? Okay, that's important for us, so we want to go there. We'll do Warband as well. Account wide leveling rewards, so that's good. Fate of Dalaran, the War Within Alpha. Okay, like week return the War Within, so that's good too. Oh yeah, we want to do that. We want to look at Warrior 3. So let's do that here. And that's I'm going to start with because we'll go over like that for now. So, oh my God, that's sick. Okay, so you could pre-order the physical collector edition. That looks sick. If only I would have money, to be honest. Like, that looks sick. Look, Laurence, what I could buy with it. It's like a statuette of like it looks sick. I don't know how much is it. Super expensive, probably. Okay, so you have the War Within Epic Edition collector set. Oh wow, that's cool. You could even have more than one if you'd like. So you have an art book cover with art. That's good. You have War Within Epic Edition game key. Redeem the digital key to unlock Epic Edition. Okay, so you have a digital key to unlock. Because usually you could order that, but you only had to, I guess, wait for physical copy. I don't know, but you have a digital copy, so that's good. You don't have to wait to get the box. Griffin Rider statue. That's really a cool one, honestly. 13 ancient statue. And the collector pin. So you have a pin that you can. Okay. So, I mean, really interesting. You got everything from the Epic Edition as well as the physical. It's probably like, I would guess $500, probably. Like, probably $300, but like with the statue, that's what brings the price higher. But let's see if we click on pre-purchase. Oh, it's not that bad. Honestly, I would consider buying it. It's like 250 US for all of that with the regular that is 115. It's not that much expensive, to be honest. especially for the statue and like just the collector. This is a product and will ship with the launch of the expansion, the War Within Edition game key. I don't know if you received the game key prior to the purchase. You get that game key? Key? So you probably do, right? La la la. The collector edition is available for pre-purchase exclusively on Blizzard Game Store. It includes everything and 30 days game time plus more. Already pre-purchased an edition, no problem. These 3 new commemoration collectibles can still be added to your trove. You will see a BattleNet balance reimbursement for your previous purchase. Available on future expense not included. Require World of Warcraft subscription. If you already have, will not be re-granted. An active World of Warcraft subscription. So I would be scared to buy the game and not have it right away. But I guess they say that they refund you. Kind of weird. They should have sent it like earlier. Like you have it, but okay. No, that's fine. We'll not buy that, unfortunately. So before we go to the interview, it's a small interview, but we want to go into some article. First look at Delve. So we'll bring it higher for people in the back. Delve footage. Okay. That's 1080p, my guy. It's not 1080p. Okay, now it is. Okay, so you have a companions, you have skills.
Let's rescue these folks and avoid these webs.
Okay, guard the card. It's kind of a smaller instance of a dungeon. It's like more of like kind of a world quest mix dungeons.
Step in those webs. Nerubians might pop out if you do.
So if you walk into it, okay.
I don't have a target.
You have to save them. You have probably objective. How long is that? 7 minutes. Okay, cool.
Find us! Watch out!
I need a target.
It's certainly not like as challenges that you would think, you know? That's probably a level 1, tier 1 one.
Have a target. I need a target.
What have we here?
Okay, so there's a rare. I don't know if they're rare actually in elite sometimes. I didn't check.
I need a target.
You get spells like Torghast, okay. What did the spell mention? Chance when attacking enemy through... God damn it. Chance when attacking an enemy to root them in place for 3 seconds. Lasts for 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so you save a bunch of people. Then you have your quests. A lot of walking within. It doesn't. It feels a bit empty, but I don't think it's meant to be a dungeon, I guess. It's more kind of a quest vibe more than a dungeon.
I need a target.
But yeah, those are not elite mobs, so there's probably an elite somewhere. Maybe at the end.
I don't have a target. I need a target.
For now, to be honest, it does seem. I mean, it's boring to look at for sure. I mean, it would be probably more interesting to play, but it is slow as hell. That one, I mean, the one with the like kind of mechanic of like the lights that you need to be within the circle looks more interesting, but
I don't have a target.
I don't know. Still gonna do it, but can't wait to be a fury warrior and gun down those people.
Found a bit of gold.
Found a bit of gold.
Smell that? It's treasure. I know it. We're close.
I don't have a target. I need a target.
Oh, there's an elite. That's the boss, probably. Yeah.
I don't have a target.
Okay, well, boss not hard. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. There's a set of objectives, so that's fine. Okay. Warband Bank preview, transfer gold, total size, auto access. The Warband Bank offers storage that is shared. Do you wish to purchase this tab? 2.5 million. Okay. One of the main features of this bank is the ability to store gold. With this, you can quickly share gold between all characters on your account, even between those from opposite faction, without relying on mail. Tab 1, you can have like a total of 5 tabs with a bunch of millions of gold. I don't have millions of gold, but I have hundreds of thousands. So maybe we'll have millions at some point. And then you can put account wide warband. Yeah, okay. War Within Mythic Plus Season 1 Dungeon Rotation. Oh, we've done on the War Within Dungeon and Plus. I had that question. What would be the rotation? So, which include the return of Shadowland Dungeon and Siege of Boralus. War Within marks the return of Shadowland's Mythic Dungeon to the Mythic Plus pool, with 2 returning in Season 1. Cataclysm Grim Battle is returning as well as the Dredge Seed of Boralus from Battle of Azeroth. So, City of Arakara, City of Echoes, City of Treads, the Stone Vault, the Dawn Breaker, Mist of Tyrnasite. Oh my god. The Necrotic Wake, that's a good one too. Siege of Boralus and Grim Battle. Well, really interesting to that's cool. Shadowland Dungeon. I mean, it seems so far away. I made video about those dungeon like 3 years ago, but they're fun dungeons, so I can't wait. Es-tu correct? J'ai une bouteille d'eau ici si jamais. J'ai une bouteille d'eau ici si jamais. Heroic Week return in the war within. So in an interview, Blizzard revealed that Heroic Week is returning in the war within. Dragonfight changed the raid release schedule for the first time in a while, removing Heroic Week, a 1 week period where Mythic Raid and the full loot pool of Mythic Plus were not open, while removing Heroic Week had upside for certain players, such as not having arbitrary cap for 1 week, has been criticized by others. Having guild feel like they have to spend every available hour doing M plus spam on the first week in order to get gear up for Mythic. Yeah, that's true. Raid boss having a larger power delta between the first and last Mythic boss because of the lack of Heroic Week, lack of class tuning from data collected on Heroic Week. That's true. The first couple of days of Race to All First being nothing but Heroic Split. Sure. Yeah. In a group interview by Michael Bebby, Heroic Week is coming back. To be a little more specific here, one of the considerations for the War Within is for the first time in World of Warcraft history, we're doing an early access period for folks who are being able to purchase their higher end product. And so they'll get 3 days early access for that. One of our very major goals with allowing that was that it didn't feel like it gave folks an advantage, especially in any power race. That kind of, yeah, sure. So that 3-day early access will give folks the ability to pay through the story content, leveling up, get the max level, but they won't have access to a lot of the Mythic Zeros and other opportunities where they can get sets of gear. I mean, when you say to a lot of Mythic Zeros, do you mean some of? Like, you can't be vague about that type of content. Then we'll have a pair where we'll actually have access to the Mythic Zero system without the season having gone live. And the season will start, and you'll have your Heroic Week, and then you'll have the rest of the content unlocked. But Mythic Legend, right? That next week. I mean, the schedule, of course, they're going to release it, but right now it's super vague. But I understand that there's going to be 3 days, and then after the 3 days, it's going to be the first week, and then there's going to be the other week, usually next week after that, the season launch with Heroic Week and M+. Hopefully they're going to put M+ in the first set of week, but I don't think they will, based on what I understood. But they're going to do 3 days with like probably just normal and heroic dungeon, not M0 dungeon, possibly, I don't know. And then let's say it's normal and heroic, and then you have leveling, everything else is, pretty much everything in the world is available, but it's not just tied to gear because you'll just have the season giving you more of that. So then you have probably heroic chain, probably dungeon that you could do to get more powerful. But we'll see. And then after the 3 days, it's going to be probably not the first season, right? Will they? It's either M0s, yeah. So they launch M0s like other expansion. And then you're going to have M0s with heroic, normal, all of those reset whatever that you have that you can acquire. And then the week after that is the season launch with Heroic Week and the Heroic Week season and plus and everything. Yeah, that makes sense. Class and Talent 3 rework in the War Within. So we'll focus on Warrior here, especially Fury Warrior. Now, okay, where's the spear? Doesn't look like there's a spear here, but I think it's on the other side, right? Is it? No, okay. Whatever. So, new talent, powerful Enrage. Enrage increases the damage your abilities deals by an additional 15%. And Enrage duration is increased by 1 second. Now, choice nod with improved rage, roll 3, 1 left. Enrage, increase your haste by 15% and increase your movement speed by 10%. I mean, 100%, that's a lock for sure. Blade Storm, become an unstoppable storm. This we know Blade Storm beyond 8 target deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. You are immune to movement impairing and loss control effect, but can use defensive abilities and can avoid attack. Yeah. Share a new choice nod with Ravagers. Roll 9 far right. Okay. I'm curious of Ravagers. It might be more interesting in terms of like probably there's like M plus or raid or dungeon. Like there might be an option to switch on and off, like depending of probably the option available. Because like Ravagers is useful and you can do more damage while you're playing compared to Blade Storm, which you're stuck doing whatever set of damage you're doing with that. So we'll see. Probably maybe Ravager is going to be useful in most instances. We'll see a test on that. And then you have move talents, improve raging blow and cruelty, swap location, meat cleaver, improve whirlwind, and wrath of the future fall. Okay. Choice nod, move to the left branch beneath that experience, anger management. Those are changed. The remove a bunch of talent. Class and talent tuning, anger management now affects Blade Storm in addition to Recklessness and Ravagers. Okay. Every 20 rage you spend, reduce the remaining cooldown of. So that's good. That's good. Of course, it now affects Blade Storm because like it's not a talent that wasn't there. That's there. So improve rage now. Name change to frenzied enrage. Okay. Single-minded fury now increase auto attack damage with one-handed weapon by 30% and auto attack crit have a 50% chance to enrage in addition to previous effects. So while dual wielding a pair of one-handed weapon, your damage done increased by 5%. But who's using one-handed weapon? I don't know. Storm of Steel now affect Blade Storm as well, but bonus rage generate reduced to 10 plus 10 was 20. So that Ravager's damage is reduced by 30%, but it's now has 2 charge. Okay. Tenderize now no longer increase enrage duration. Previously 2 seconds. Onslaught enrage you. If you have Slattering Strike, grant you 3 strike. Okay. Wrath of the Fury tooltip clarify to increase raging blow chance to reset by an additional 10%. Okay. Okay. So that's good. Now we'll okay, we have arms here. Move talent, class, Battle Lord, collateral. There's a lot of change for arms. I don't know much about arms, but move talent, talent change and tuning. Okay, so that's the warrior one that's available for everyone. So we'll go over that. So Berserker Rage is now baseline. That means it's available right away for all. Blood and Thunder is no longer available to Fury. Defense System is a free talent. Furious Blow is removed. Sonic Boost Boom is removed. Titanic Throw is removed. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of okay. I didn't use it that much, but okay. Talent change and tuning. Barbaric Training. No longer increase rage cost, damage bonus. Okay. Barbaric Training Fury now affects Thunderclap for Mountain Thane hero specialization. Okay, so Slam and Whirlwind deals 20% increased damage and 10% increased critical strike. So you have to press Slam before doing Whirlwind. It's basically the rotation, I understand. Crackling Thunder increased by 50% radius and it reduced movement speed by an additional 20%. Okay. Okay. Champion speed now generate 10 rage, down from 20. Okay. Endurance training is now a 2-point talent for up to 10% increased stamina. Okay. 2-point talent. Interesting. So you reduce impairing effect and you have increased stamina. Interesting. For frauding berserker. So okay. Refund reduced by 10% instead of 20. So Rampage has a 20% chance to immediately refund 20% of your rage. Now it's 20, it's 10. Reinforced plate armor bonus reduced to 10 was 20. Seismic reverberation now affect thunderclap. Okay. Shockwave no longer generate rage. Storm no longer generate rage. Thunderous roar. So it feels like a lot of things doesn't generate range as much. Rage, sorry. But seems like stuff costs less. So I don't know how the gameplay is gonna feel. But maybe it's good. Whirlwind rage cost reduced to 20. So Waller to mine armed. Activate Avatar Orculus to smash, cast, recklessness, and reduce effectiveness. Okay. Okay, new finishing blows overpower generate 8 rage when used on enemy below 30%. Replace improving slam. Okay. That's good. That's for arms. Ravagers throw a whirlwind weapon at the target location. Now a choice nod. Yeah, wait. Okay. Okay. Well, interesting. Interesting choice. So, legendary companion trinket data mine, but I think that's more for delves, right? So you have bronze beard family compass. Get your bearing and meet up with Bran, who heroically swoop in to deliver physical damage accurating. Okay, no, it's a trinket that basically do a lot of damage. If already by your side, Bran will proudly direct you toward adventure, immediately repositioning, granting himself 30% additional damage for 10 seconds, and performing okay. Okay. While we don't have a lot of to go off right now, this appears very different from most legendary we are used to. Most interesting is the relation to Bran, who as already known is the designated Delve companion. So the fact that the trinket either summon Bran or buff him is, if he's already present, suggests that the trinket isn't just meant for use during delves, where he would always be present anyways. Yeah. So that trinket is good in delve, but it's also good if you're not in delve, and that does like kind of a damage of an amount of 1,000,000 damage or something. There's also a petition of him within the flavor text in that treating is entrusted to you by Brand Bunsbill himself. We may be reading a little too far into it, but this sounds an awful lot like the trinket could be a reward for maxing out some kind of level friendship or reputation. I don't think that's it. Companion trinket will also find a second legendary trinket, though this one doesn't appear to be for player. Okay, whatever. Instead, this appeared to be a ticket for Bran himself. Okay. Okay. So that's the warrior one. Looks good. Oh yeah, that's probably the mythic one. It's in 360p, but sure. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Can't wait. That one looks great. Can't wait to wear that. First look at Nerubian Palace. Boss list on preview, loading screen. There's how many boss? 1, 2, there's 8 of them. Okay. It's gonna be a good vibe. Especially this room makes me feel like Castle Natria, like I said earlier. loading screen and map. Those maps always confuse me anyways, so. More within talent calculator. Warrior. Fury. Okay, so I did not know about those. So damaging enemy with Thunderclap, Revenge, Raging Blow, or Execute has a 15% chance to also strike one with Lightning Bolt, dealing 40% of attack power. That's your damage, okay? And you have Storm Strike or Nature Damage. Your ability deal is increased by 5%. Storm Strike damage in your armor. Okay. Then you have Lightning Strike, also deals 20% of attack power to enemy near the target damage. Shield Slam. Yeah, that's Shield Slam. Okay, Bloodthirst and Rampage damage increased by 10. Lightning Strike. Chance of a Lightning Strike to critically strike is increased by 5%. You kind of have a choice here. Stun Bolt has 2 additional nearby attack. Intervening a target grants them a shield. So you kind of have a tank one. Next Thunderclap become a Thunder Blast. Shield Slam. And Bloodthirst have 20% chance to grant you Thunder Blast, stacking up to 2 charge. So it feels like you're going to use more Thunder Blast now, right? Does that mean that's reading too much into it, or? You attack trigger Lightning Strike 15% more often. Lightning Strike generate 3 rage. Revenge, Raging Blow, and Execute increase by 15%. Okay. Lightning Strike have a 20% chance to make your next 2 Shield Slam or Bloodthirst have no cooldown. Okay, so more Bloodthirst spam. Casting Avatar grants you 2 charge of Thunder Blast and reset the cooldown of Thunderclap while Avatar is not active. Lightning Strike have a 10% chance to grant you Avatar for 4 seconds. Your next Thunderclap become a Thunder Blast that deals Storm Strike damage. So that's Mountain 3. Slayer. Your attack have a highly chance to overwhelm your target defense and trigger Slayer Strike, dealing 100% of attack power. Damage and applying Mark for execution, increasing the damage they take from your next execute by 10%, stacked 3 times. Interesting. Sudden Death change to reset the cooldown of execute and make it usable on any target, regardless of health, is increased. Using Sudden Death, accelerate your next Blade Storm striking 1 additional time. Blade Storm total duration is unchanged. And then you have each strike of Blade Storm applies Overwhelm to all enemy affected, increasing damage you deal to them by 1% for 20-second max 10 stack. So Blade Storm really is a must for this Slayer build. Charge remove all movement and pairing. 70% movement speed for 3 seconds. Heroic Leap reduce the cooldown of charge by 5 seconds and charge reduce the cooldown of Heroic Leap. Okay. You heal for 50% of damage dealt by Sudden Death. Interesting. Slayer Strike have 50% to reset the cooldown of Bloodthirst and Overpower. Cooldown or Bloodthirst reduced by 10%. Okay. Your auto attack speed increased by 2% every 3 seconds while you are in combat, up to a max 20%. Changing target reset this effect. So you need to keep being focused on the target to just gain more stack of it. Execute, increase your auto attack speed by 30%. So it's probably like a solo, kind of raid, not AoE build. Well, I mean, kind of not AoE, but at the same time, it's a Blade Storm set, so it's kind of AoE, so interesting. Mark for execution, increase the critical strike chance of critical strike damage of your next execute. So execute type Blade Storm build. Bloodthirst and Overpower have a chance to cause you to unleash a brief and power Blade Storm, striking all enemy around you once or 250 additional damage. Just one stack of Bladestorm. You can now use Pummel and Stormbolt while Bladestorming. That's cool. Pummel, like CC a mob while you still can damage is OP as fuck. Approximately 2 proc per minute, it says. Okay. Bloodthirst and overpower damage increased by 20%. And you have Unrelenting Onslaught. When you execute a target that you've marked for execution, you both reduce the cooldown of Bladestorm by 5 seconds and apply 2 stacks of Overwhelm to that target per stack and mark for execution. Interesting. I'm not sure. Okay. Interesting gameplay. Interesting. Warband Mentor. You gain more experience now when you have like a high level, I guess. You reach 80 multiple times. So that's interesting. Experience reward come from achievement from reaching level 80. Each character in your account with which you reach level 80 increase the experience of all other character received by 5%. For other achievement has the same branch like reward, which stack up to 25% total experience increase. So that's interesting. Retroactive reward. You don't need to wait until the war within launch to enjoy some of the new account-wide bonuses. Achievement for reaching max level with 2 characters now reward you with a toy that allow you to open your Warband bank anywhere the Warband bank distance. Okay. Okay. So I guess you can have a bank with your toy. And then you have that. Okay, so we'll watch the interview and we'll see.
Hello, my name is George Velov. I'm a game producer working on the World of Warcraft team. I work on primarily the combat team, so things like classes, class tuning, PvP, things of that nature. For the War Within, I'm working on features like hero talents, Deep Hole Ravine Battleground, and Raid of Battleground Blitz.
Hey, I'm Drew D'Souza. I'm an assistant lead encounter designer, so my focus is dungeons and raids, that sort of thing. And in the War Within, my big focus was dungeons.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm just going to start just firing off the questions at both of you. Let me know if I need to slow down or anything or repeat anything at all.
What's going on with Taoli fucking Cam? It's so blurry compared to the other two guys.
So I'm going to get into a question about dungeons in general, going into the War Within. So there's I guess a broader conversation when it comes to affixes always seems to be a bit negative sometimes, unless it's about removing or nerfing an affix. Why do you think that is, and how can affixes become something that could be more fun in the War Within?
The conversation around affixes, there's always going to be some tension there, right? To do the nature of them, they create friction. They pose new challenges as you go up throughout the key levels, and that's something that we talk a lot on the team and how we want to address that going forward. I don't have anything concrete to share with you today. Okay. That said, we're always experimenting, right? We made big changes in Dragonflight Season 2. Even in Season 4, you'll notice that we've pushed the last bucket of affixes deeper into the pool. So we're looking for the right place to put that kind of challenge and the right ways to challenge players as we go forward, right? The main goals being an opportunity to present some extra challenge as you go up in the key levels, places for week over week change so that your dungeon experience feels different every week, and then lastly a goal that something we're always striving towards is an opportunity for your class to shine on some weeks and feel like you have a really powerful part of your kit.
Are there any hero talent trees that we have not seen yet that you can give us a little preview or TLDR of?
By the way, it's not my mouse, it's his, I think.
Maybe one that's exciting to the team that has been presented like in any of the blue posts recently?
Yeah, so we showed a lot. There's 4 in public alpha that haven't been seen yet. So they are the Void Weaver priests. These are priests who sort of dedicated themselves to studying the origins of void magic, and they summon this like really, really cool like entropic black hole. It's really sweet. There's a Soul Harvester Warlock, and you sort of like sign a pact with a demon, which empowers your spells, as long as you treat the demon right. There's Sentinel Hunter, which is a hunter that's sort of themed around drawing their power from nature's forces, and they summon these really cool Sentinel Owls. My favorite out of the 4, if I had to pick one, probably the Sun Fury Mage. It's a fire and arcane mage tree, and you summon this like sick Spellfire Phoenix that like cast a bunch of fire and arcane spells at your target, and you also summon these like really cool like spellfire orbs around your character that are reminiscent of a certain raid boss. So yeah, those are
Certainly a caster. Certainly, he plays mage for sure.
four that players haven't seen, but are going to be in Public Alpha 1.
Awesome. Can't wait to try those out. Kind of like the same question, but for both of you, what is your actual favorite hero talent out of all the classes out there? Like, I've been a prop paladin for about almost 18 years, so the Templar prop pally is awesome. Just seeing the hammers raining down, it almost made me cry the first time I actually saw it and used it. Once I figured out how to use it, and it was super fun to use in the alpha dungeons. Please don't nerf it. So for both of you, what are your favorite hero talents, or ones that you probably be playing yourselves once the expansion comes out?
Oh, this one's easy for me. I love Slayer. Big fan of that.
Slayer, warrior, let's go. I want him to explain to me.
Play my arms warrior, and it helps me do what I do best.
Hard for me to choose since they're like picking
Arms warrior, never mind.
favorite child. It's true. I love all 39 of them equally. If I had to say one that stands out to me, I'm particularly proud of Oracle Priest. It was one of the first ones that we published with our Hero Talent blog, so we took a lot of big swings intentionally to get people's reactions to it, and we've since pivoted. It's no longer support-oriented, it's more about concentrating the priest healing, while still sort of feeling like it's an interpretation of what we think an Oracle Priest is. So that's one I'm really proud of, in terms of how it sort of developed over time. If I had to pick one, probably Chrono Warden. For Evoker, I played a lot of Evoker in Season 3, and like the idea of having like a mini teleport with Warp. So probably that one for now, but changes on a daily basis.
Awesome. So there's follower dungeons that are available. Will those be available for all 8 of the War Within dungeons? And has there been any thought to possible follower raids in the future for the expansion or the World Soul Saga in general?
So we're still discussing, where follower dungeons will land.
I think follower dungeon needs to be removed, not available for M+. At least maybe M0 would be fine when like that I don't really mind, because like after a couple weeks they're not really played that much. So it's like fine. But no M+, because like that removes the aspect of like playing MMO, even though like people will say it's not an MMO anymore. Fine, whatever. It's not. It is not solo content, but I would not like to have like a raid with followers. Like the main reason why I play WoW is playing with other people.
What we do know today for sure is that the Rookery dungeon will have a follower dungeon support. It is a part of the critical campaign of the War Within, so players will be able to experience that with like an AI companion and play through it if that's how they want to play the dungeon.
Awesome. Now going to hero talents for a bit, is there any concern in hero talents for like ability bloat or passive bloat? As someone like myself who uses something like, let's say, weak auras, and I have to track like already for what we have with the revamped talent tree from Dragonflight, so many passives, so many abilities. Is there any concern that if we decide to go further with the hero talents, is there going to be a mix up or a shake up there?
Yeah, I mean, this topic is something we discuss all the time, and we've heard a lot of feedback about this as well. Our process for hero talent trees is sort of start thematically and figure out what makes sense. So some trees like Sun Fury, for example, that Phoenix I mentioned, it's not a new button, it's tied to when you hit combustion. And it's sort of like a rider on that button. Other trees like Frostfire, we felt like if you want to do Frostfire Bolt properly, you need to replace Fireball and Frostbolt effectively, so it's just an override instead. So we're very cognizant of the amount of abilities that we're adding, and we're being very conscious about when we add them. In some cases, we are making class updates to sort of make room for these abilities. So for example, Mistweaver in Public Alpha 1 no longer has Essence Font. Part of that is because we wanted to give them a new active via Conduit of Celestials. So we're trying to make sure that when appropriate, we're leveraging those options, but it's really assessing it like case by case. There's no like one right answer for a hero talent tree or for a spec.
Okay, and will there be more hero talents in general just coming on later the expansion, or is this War Within hero talents just like the first iteration is going to stay with us throughout the entirety of all the seasons that we're going to get?
Right now we're just focused on making these as great as they can be for the War Within launch. Nothing to currently share about more down the line, but it's something that we've talked about.
I mean, it's certainly flexible to update what's not working or what's not good enough, right?
So when we do share something, it's something that we've sort of taken a lot of consideration in. But as of right now, 39 for launch, and that's all we can really talk about right now.
Okay. So
But 39 for launch, like I mean, make it them good enough. 39 of them, it's certainly a lot of work for sure.
PvPers have like a brawl system for experimental game mode, so you have like the solo shuffle and the blitz. Is there any interest in like a Mythic Plus brawl to test experimental affixes like mid-season or in that PvE spectrum?
Not something we've discussed currently, but there's a cool idea there. That's
Like solo shuffle and plus sounds fun.
something we talk about with the team.
Okay. Going back to hero talents, are there going to be any more like class design changes or any like class specific hero talent like revamps? You know, sometimes we take an entire class and we revamp the talents because something like the hero talents exists. So I don't know if there's maybe a hint you can give us, or if there's any definitive classes that are just going to go through like a good overhaul because of the hero talents that they're getting.
I mean, I can give you a definitive list of things in Public Alpha 1. So, yeah, alongside hero talents, there's a good amount of changes for classes like Evoker, Druid, Warrior, Monk, Paladin. And we plan on adding more over the course of Alpha, both just from things that we've been cooking and just aren't ready to show, and based off of internal and external feedback. So, yeah, there's a good amount of class changes separate from hero talent in Public Alpha 1, and definitely more down the line as we go over the course of Alpha.
Awesome. Are there any new mechanics to Mythic Plus affixes coming in this expansion, and are seasonal affixes just gone for good? It feels like
interesting question.
Kind of 50-50 on it in Dragonflight. Like we want seasonal affixes, others kind of enjoy that it wasn't there. You know, so what is the direction that we're going with in the War Within with that?
So we don't have seasonal affixes planned for the War Within currently. That said,
Okay.
that doesn't mean they're gone for good. Like I mentioned earlier, right? Like affixes are going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to iterate on them, and we're going to take community sentiment and feedback in when we make these decisions, right? As far as like new features that I'm excited about, this is a little bit in line with what we're trying in season 4. Like there's the difficulty recalibration of like what a Mythic 0 is, right? For people that really like a mega dungeon. What we're going to try going forward is any dungeon that's part of the Mythic Plus rotation will be a part of Mythic 0 as well. So you'll actually have rotating Mythic 0s as well.
Okay, cool.
Even if you don't do Mythic Plus, you get the new set of content every season.
Nice.
Awesome. And are we keeping the 4 new, 4 old dungeon system in War Within? Everyone seemed to love it for Dragonflight. And are any hints to some dungeons coming with that, if that is the case? Yeah, smiles. Yes, come on, let's go.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with how that came out as well. And I guess your early point on the seasonals, I guess that's where our stance is right now. Is like the rotation did a lot to keep each season pretty fresh. In a way where we didn't have to layer a seasonal affix over dungeons you've been playing for an entire expansion. That still doesn't mean that's gone forever or anything of that nature. As far as any spoilers or hints, I'll share one. Rimbotol's coming back. We thought that was a pretty cool setting for us going and visiting some dwarves.
Quoi? C'était combien finalement? Cool. Je finis cette vidéo-là, puis après ça, je vais finir le stream. Il est un peu tard, fait que...
Hi guys!
Ouais, salut à tes millions de viewers.
Couples or siblings?
Siblings!
On est assez comme ça.
Ouais. Dans le fond, je vais pas... je suis claqué, là, je vais pas faire le montage après, là, je vais faire ça demain, puis au pire, je le ferai d'un coup, puis comme que je suis bon à faire, là, d'une vidéo d'un coup, montage, bing bang, après 5 heures. Idéalement avec un déparatif. Mais ouais. Ouais. Ouais, hein? Ouais, mais tu avais donné ton cadeau avant. Hein? Je finis dans peut-être 15 minutes.
Taking all the lessons we've learned through
Maybe I'll talk to you in 15.
Dragonflight 2 as we've done some of these revamps. Like we want to keep the spirit of it. Like there will be a bombing run still, if you remember that part, right? But we'll make sure we touch it up for modern pacing considerations and.
I need to look at Grim Battle. I don't remember the look of it.
That sort of thing, but
didn't play it too much.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Just trying to calculate the percentage of mobs on those bombing runs is gonna be pretty fun. Are there any plans to take it easy on the restrictions that raid buffs impose on endgame content like Mythic Plus and raiding? We've always had the bring the player, not the class conversation over the years. And just recently when I was playing the MOP remix, we had stuff like the buff scrolls. And that kind of just reminded a lot of people like, wow, these buff scrolls are really cool that anyone can actually use them. So is there any kind of, easing up on those kind of restrictions in the current War Within game or?
Not currently. least nothing that we can share publicly. It's something we've talked about, but as of right now, no current plans. No.
Okay. This is for hero talents. This is actually from Preheat, who is a content creator who loves to play as augmentation evoker. He says I had to ask this. With the new hero talents, we can glean that augmentation is here to stay. Does the team still consider the support role to be a success? Are there any big changes planned for the augmentation playstyle or the way the damage is allocated?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can consider augmentation a success. There's a ton of players who really enjoy the playstyle, and we're happy that we made it for players like that. In terms of new changes to the spec, we have talked about a few things internally. Nothing we're going to share right now.
I think I should play augmentation. Maybe I would like that.
We definitely heard that there's some categories of improvement that we can make in regards to logging, and we're tracking and planning on addressing those for the War Within launch.
Awesome. All right. So going to a little bit of mythic rating in the War Within. So is the plan for rating in general and mythic rating to kind of keep those last couple of bosses like extremely hard for like the elite of the raiders? I know it took several nerfs to get like, let's say, Tyndril and Farok to a point where even like, 2 to 3 day raiding guilds that would normally just get cutting edge for an entire raid took them a lot longer this last tier. So is that just like a tuning issue or just maybe a mistake? Like, how is that going to be worked on going into the War Within with like those big end game bosses?
I think you hit it on the head there, right? Like we have the audience that gets there first, and we really want that to be really engaging and exciting, but we do have to consider everybody else. I don't have anything concrete as far as a plan, but this is a serious topic that we're talking about pretty often.
Certainly something that's going to be fixed.
That's what I can say today.
Okay. As a tank over the years, I've seen a lot of back and forth over tank threat, snap threat. We've even had like tanks in dungeons get nerfed and buffed over the years, depending on different play styles. Like, okay, we don't want tanks like kiting on the highest of high keys because there's a possibility that it's just a bad play style. So what would be like the long-term solution for this? Are we just gonna continue to like buff the overall tank threat through like talents, hero talents overall? I know, like, we played Mr. Kata, we had like Resolve, and we had Vengeance as big boosters to our damage that we never had to really worry about like getting our threat nerfed or buffed. So I was wondering, is there like a way to solve that issue in the War Within or going forward? Is it just going to be continually just a lot of data coming in and just figuring out where to buff and nerf certain tanks and certain threat aspects of them?
That's a good question. Our philosophy really is we try to keep tank threat output and DPS power at similar levels, but it's inevitable that sometimes there are bonuses that sway in one direction or the other. We try to make sure that we can address it on the tank side first, but sometimes it requires us to come up with creative solutions for specific problems. Early, our goal is to keep tank threat high enough, or give them tools they need to sort of deal with snap threat, and we're not really sort of planning on shifting or adding things like Vengeance or Resolve for the War Within currently,
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. Overall, with the hero talent system, this I guess would be a question for both of you, really. What would be a win for the WoW team with the hero talents? Would an example being like everyone just using different talents frequently? Like, what would be like the win with that feature, considering it's such a big feature of the War Within?
The biggest win, in my opinion, is getting people excited about what they add to their spec. If you're the type of player that really wants to sort of eke out maximum performance, or the type of player that really wants to sort of dig deep into the flavor of certain things, like, for example, Dark Ranger and Black Arrow, we just hope that there's something there for you. At the end of the day, we want to just sort of make stuff that makes people say, like, oh, I want to play that, or like, I want to make a new character that's a hunter specifically because of Sentinel, or Shaman because of Farseer. Things like that is sort of what we consider the win. Beyond that, there are some goals that we also set out for ourselves, like not adding too much complexity, having different options and different content, and maintaining the core identity and gameplay.
And they're not complex because they're all passive for most of them, right?
Hitting the mark on those is also very important for us. But excitement first. People should be really excited for them.
Absolutely.
That's a win for us.
Awesome. For the entirety of Dragonflight, we had the release of our raids. We had like Heroic, Normal, Mythic all released on the same week. Is that staying in the War Within, or will that be changing up back to the pre-DF format of we have like 2 weeks, then we have Normal, Heroic, then we have Mythic? Like, what will be like the release raid looking like for each season?
So I can speak a little bit to release. I believe we do have an interest in having like a Heroic week again, like folks refer to it as it for launch, right? There's a lot of benefit there, and like giving folks time to level up, smell the roses, do some of the max level content, and it gives us a chance to make sure balance feels right and that we're in a good place going into our first set of raids. But only really here to talk about that War Within release for now.
Awesome. So it's possible that it could just be like that for like the beginning, and then it could just go back to the old style later on. That's just a possibility.
Potentially, yeah. But for
Hopefully
War,
not.
we're currently thinking we will have a bit of lead time.
Yeah. This may not be a question you two can answer, but is the patch cadence for War Within going to be the same as Dragonflight overall, with like just overall releases in general, like 3 seasons, Faded? We've had the last 2 expansions, or is there a possibility for some surprises at the end of the expansion?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if talked about it now, would it?
Yeah.
In regards to like seasons and cadence, right now, nothing we can sort of talk about. It's things that we talked about quite a lot, and we're so very early on public alpha. So yeah, unfortunately, can't really comment too much on content cadence or secret surprises down the line.
All right, sounds fair, very fair. Just speaking a little bit about Faded, we're about to hit up season 4, where we're going to get our Awakened season. How does the team feel about Faded going into just the War Within in general? I know a lot of your decisions are mostly based on feedback, and the Shadowlands feedback, from what I saw, was really good for Faded, which I'm assuming is why Awakened happened. But I guess for me, like as a raider, I get excited for like the gear chase, but it's always good to have like a new raid. And when we don't get that, it can feel a little sad. Whereas I guess Mythic Plus players and PvPers get like their own regular season, and they get to just ball out and have fun. So how do you guys feel about Faded in general, and then going into the War Within and their possibilities there?
So nothing necessarily for the War Within today, right? But as far as season 4 goes, it's a love letter to the Dragon Isles for us, right? Like, here's everything we've made. Go out and play it, right? And you called it out a moment ago, but like the gear chase there's a bit of a texture change up there, and for a lot of folks, it's a part of like there's a not reprogging, right, but revisiting encounters that you haven't seen in a long time and having them feel relevant. One thing that might be a little bit exciting for folks is we're actually messing with, or rather, we've adjusted some of the tuning in the Dawn of the Infinites Mega Dungeon to where it should feel a little bit closer to an actual mini raid. It's much harder than what it was in 10.1.5, and has rewards that match that as well. So hopefully there's like something there for folks to chase early on, and play with that in like that format.
And going to raids, now that we're hitting up the World Soul Saga, in Mythic Raid, something I've always liked was Mythic only phases. And I know this is probably something you can't answer, but I still ask anyway. Is there a possibility with such an epic, I guess, cast of characters coming into the World Soul Saga, could we possibly be seeing some extra Mythic phases in the upcoming raids, at least in the War Within?
I think that's something we'd have to, keep close to the chest. I think our stance, remains the same. When it makes sense, we'll do it, right? But that's all I really have to share on that right now.
Well, it certainly will make sense if they, if there's a place you have to do it. It's certainly in a saga like this. So we'll see. But a lot of content, close to 2 hour stream. Happy to do it. Thanks for watching, and see you really soon. Probably in a couple days. We'll do some review, and we'll see what we're gonna cook for the next stream. So happy to see you, and see you next time. Subscribe.